Hi, it's Jason, the expat carnivore, coming to you today late because I got hit by a car on my way home from the store. Because I went for my walk, which is about a 2.5 kilometer trip, and on my way back, I was bringing home a lot of heavy sparkling water bottles, 8 2-liter bottles, and I tried to get past a car that was turning into the street that I was crossing. And I was not quick enough. So I got bumped, I got bruised, I got sent to the hospital. I'm back. I just got dinged up. I'm a little bruised. Shiner, broke my glasses, tore up a whole bunch of muscles in this shoulder, even though I got hit on that side, and I don't know why. But here I am, and today's topic was going to be about variety on the carnivore diet, because I get a lot of criticisms, like from people who don't know or don't participate in this, is that, well, all you can eat is meat, eggs, and butter and water. Like, don't you get bored of that? No. There's burgers, there's steaks, there's kebabs, there's skewers, there's jerky, there's more jerky, there's more steaks. You know how many cuts of steaks there are that are just ridiculous? Because I grew up in North America, so I'm used to North American cuts of meat. So, like, I'm used to a New York strip and a sirloin and a ribeye and a T-bone and a porterhouse and a tomahawk and and a round and a fillet, and then here they have different. There's a bavette, there's a flat iron, there's rump, um, and there's a côte de boeuf, which is a French cut that is amazing. It's a ribeye with everything left on it. And if you haven't had one of those, ask your butcher if they know the côte de boeuf. It literally just means cut the beef. But it is all the fat, including what they usually trim off for a ribeye. But it's that other layer that's there that they cut off, and it is amazing when cooked together. And I lived off of that predominantly when I was in Paris, because it was, you know, 20 euros for that as my main, and I'd have a half a bottle of red wine and usually a shot after. But that was before carnivore. But that is a lovely cut of meat to have, especially barbecued. I've done that barbecued, and I've also done it as a pan seared and then oven finished, and then uh, pan finished at the end, and it's amazing. It's so fatty and so delicious. Mwah. But again, don't get bored. I'm not. I make myself. For a while, I was doing, just as my first meal of the day, I'd do a 80-20 ground beef loaf. I just take 500 grams of 80-20 ground beef, crack in a large egg, mix that up, stick it in a baking in a 1 pound bread tray lined with parchment paper, and I stick that in the oven for 25 minutes. Comes out perfect. Meat's been properly cooked all the way through. Fat has been released. I'd pour that off, get the tallow from that, and then the excess I would pour back onto the loaf on my plate. I'd have a nice crispy top, salted, fat in, couple eggs. Bob's your uncle. Done and done. That's the kind of thing. Like, just because it's just meat doesn't mean it's just boring. You can do a lot of things. If you feel like having a little flavor, on my meatloaf, like that I made like that, I would every once in a while just grate out my old hot sauce that's just fermented peppers and vinegar, the pureed, and I put that in there, give it a little kick, take it up a notch. If I've noticed, though, that if I put too much on or I use too much, the body says no, too much veggie, no more plants. I thought we closed up shop for that. So I use it sparingly. And English mustard, which has some carbs but no sugar. I'll spread that on a piece of meat every once in a while if I feel like zhuzhing things up a bit. But otherwise, no, I haven't gotten bored of it, because there's chicken. Chicken thighs, chicken wings is what I predominantly prefer. I don't like chicken breasts because they are just devoid of the flavor of fatty meat. It just doesn't have the same zing, even barbecued or grilled properly. Chicken breasts don't compare to that. So wings, I'll get a kilo of wings, cut them up in drumettes and flats, and I'll uh, I'll use a little Worcestershire sauce on and salt, and toss them in that and let them sit in that for a bit before I put them in the air fryer and cook them, because it just gives the skin a little bit more tang, and it makes it less boring than just a plain air fried chicken wing. So and not a lot, and it's barely enough to make a dent in your carbs, if at all. So mm, there are a lot of ways of keeping the diet uh, interesting by varying things that you do all the time. Like sometimes I got a slow cooker, and I braised some bone-in beef shin, really nice big chunks of the good solid bone with the marrow in. I seared those off, put them in the slow cooker, uh, covered it with beef broth and a little extra water, and I let that simmer for a good 8 hours on the low setting. The next day, the meat had fallen apart. All the collagen and the good stuff from the shin and the marrow was in the broth. And I'd had that as a soup, and I heat up the broth really hot in the microwave, and then drop in an egg, and it cooks. It's like egg drop soup. It cooks the egg white and the yolk as it sits in the broth, but not so much that the yolk gets sort of firm but still runny. It's gorgeous. It's a great thing. But you gotta really heat the broth up. Like it should be close to boiling, so that the egg cooks, the egg white cooks, and it's just a delicious thing to have. And I did that today for my meal. Because of the accident, I didn't get to have my morning or my initial meal, which I was planning on having it around 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then I'd have my second meal around 1, 2 o'clock, because I'm still in a time restricted eating schedule. And that's the other thing. You got to plan those things out too. Like you've got to obey your hunger first before you start restricting your eating window. I found that now that I dropped the initial weight, and as long as I keep my eating to like a 4-6 hour window, I'm still progressively losing weight, but I'm not feeling hungry. I'm not having the cravings or the desire to eat outside of that time frame. Predominantly in the evening, sometimes because it's habit, and I'm an addict, so it's still, I need a snack. It's 8. It's 2000 hours. I need a snack now. I need a snack now. We should have something. We could probably eat something. It's that thing. You get over it, but it's still kind of there. So I just drink more water, and then time for bed. And hopefully tonight I'll get a good night's sleep, because I'm not concussed. They checked for that every 5 minutes, and I feel good, despite the fact my shoulder is really screwed up, and my legs are a little achy. But you get hit by a car, it should be a little achy. So I'll be walking this off tomorrow, because I don't know about my weight training with the shoulder injury, because it's pretty from about there down the back of the scapula. Like nothing was broken. They x-rayed me twice, which is good thing with the NHS. But yeah, dumb. But happy having a sirloin steak today with some pork roast and beef shin soup, egg drop soup. Sound boring to you? Maybe, but it all has Himalayan salt. So anyway, that's it for today, and I hope everyone eats meat.
Go, don't stop. Go, don't stop. go.